This morning we will hear from a constituent of mine named Julie Nordman, who on the morning of March 8, 2016, was forced to run to the attic of her home in Montgomery County, Missouri, while her husband, Randy, a hero, desperate to save his wife and protect her, struggled with a stranger with a gun downstairs in the couple's garage. The man who allegedly shot and killed Randy and 4 other men the night before in Kansas City, Kansas, never should have been in this country. According to the information I have, Pablo Antonio Serrano Vitorino, who is set for trial in a capital murder case in Missouri, was deported in 2004 after serving a year in prison for a felony conviction in California. At some point, he illegally re-entered the country, and despite his prior felony, he managed to slip through the cracks during at least 3 run-ins with the Kansas police. I'm told that in one case in Coffee County, Kansas, Mr. Serrano was arrested for DUI, but his fingerprints were never taken, so a match was never made with the Department of Homeland Security's immigration database. After again being arrested and charged with domestic assault in Wyandotte County, Mr. Serrano's fingerprints were sent to DHS, but Immigration and Customs Enforcement did not take him into custody before he was released. Just 3 months later, when Mr. Serrano showed up at Overland Park, Kansas Municipal Court to pay a traffic fine, his fingerprints were taken again. ICE was notified that they had an undocumented individual with a history of violent offenses within their grasp. ICE issued a detainer request that Mr. Serrano be held until federal authorities could get there, but amazingly, the detainer was sent to the wrong place. It went to the Johnson County, Kansas Sheriff's Office instead of the Overland Park Municipal Court building. How did that happen? I don't know. Why didn't ICE pursue Mr. Serrano further? I don't know. What I do know is that 6 months later, Mr. Serrano allegedly shot and killed 5 men in Kansas and Missouri, including Randy Nordman. And it appears that while the local authorities were doing their jobs, the federal government, specifically ICE, dropped the ball. Now, Mrs. Nordman, I know none of this is going to bring your husband back. And I would never try to say that it would. Mr. Serrano should not have been in this country. Your husband should still be with you today. I want to know how this was allowed to happen. And I'm sure you have some of the very same questions. That's why I'm so disappointed that someone with ICE couldn't be here today. As you know, I invited Director Homan, or when I found out that he wasn't available, anyone in his organization to come and testify this morning. I would hope that he would be able to speak to some of the specifics of this case and the other cases we will be hearing about this morning. I have also asked for a copy of Mr. Serrano's case file from ICE, but at every turn, my staff and I have been met with resistance. The agency told us that due to privacy concerns, Mr. Serrano's case files cannot be released. But that flies directly in the face of the Trump administration's new policy that says, and I quote, "The department will no longer afford privacy rights and protections to persons who are neither U.S. citizens nor lawful permanent residents." How can you, on one hand, have an administration that says privacy rights do not attach and have someone in your administration tell a United States Senate office that we're not allowed to look at a file that is critically important in terms of us fixing these problems? If we want to stop future tragedies, we have to see that file. We have to understand the mistakes that were made, and we have to have our questions answered. One of the reasons I have devoted so much of my time here in the Senate to oversight is that I truly believe as legislators we have an obligation to understand the problems before we try and pass new laws. Sometimes passing new laws does more harm than good if you don't really understand the underlying problem. What happened in this case was an absolute tragedy, but it was caused by a failure either in our immigration laws or policy, but was it caused by a failure in our immigration laws and policies? Or was it instead the result of human beings failing to follow the rules, or the policies, or the directives? Unfortunately, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, are the only people capable of answering that question, and to date have refused to either provide the information to my office or to participate in today's hearing. Mrs. Norton, despite the resistance from ICE, I'm going to do everything in my power to get you some answers. And I want to appreciate you and your sister being here today. I think Missouri should be very proud of your courage. I know that I am. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Both the chairman and I have reached out to ICE with a list of questions, and I'll make sure that you have a copy of the letter that I have sent them. I think it's unfortunate they're not here today to apologize to you at a minimum. It would have been nice to have somebody from ICE at this table to look at you and say, I'm sorry, and to acknowledge the failures of that agency. I wish they were here so they were doing that